My name is Stu Kids, and you're watching No Huntsville. Thank you guys.
This episode of No Huntsville is brought to you by Salty Nut Brewery.
All right. Joe, are you ready?
Yes.
This is Tom.
And I'm Joe.
And this is No Huntsville. We have a special episode series going on here called Inside the Mash Tun. It's a brand new series we're going to bring to Huntsville. We're going to be on location at different breweries. We have plenty of breweries here in town to talk about, meet the brewers, and talk about the different stories, talk about their beer. We're really excited about this one because we're starting with Salty Nut, our good friends at Salty Nut. Guys, thanks for having us over. Let's get things started.
Thank you for coming out.
Thanks. All right, so this is going to be an ongoing series. Again, it's kind of like Inside the Actor Studio, where we're going to be picking the brain of these brewers and seeing what's really behind putting together a brewery, the beer, and everything like that. So I think a good first place to start is, what the hell is a mash tun? Because if most people wouldn't know the answer to that, the beer nerds here, there's plenty of them here that probably know the answer to that. So let's start right there. What is that?
Tell me, there would be technical
questions. Somebody Google that real quick. No, so mash tun is basically where you put the grain, you rinse the sugars to make the wort that you're going to actually ferment to make the beer.
Okay, so it's like a large vat.
So a large vat that you put the grain. Well, for us, it's a small vat, but yes, so you put the grain inside the vat. That's where you rinse the sugars and then use that to produce the beer.
And you do that for every new beer that you guys
Every
produce.
beer period, yes.
Very good. So
every brewer, every beer.
Yep.
So that's the premise of it. We're going to be inside the mash tun, talking to the brewers. Our next one is going to be April 28th at Blue Pants, so everybody check that out. Hopefully this will go well. We completely don't wreck it so it doesn't start off bad, but I think this is going to be a fun series. We're excited about it because it's involving beer. And I think the brewers are going to be excited to get some exposure and get people down to the tap rooms, which is really cool. So let's start off with another question that I have is, let's start off with the name Salty Nut. What the hell is going on there? Because we have to get behind what's going on there.
So we get asked that question a lot.
I'm sure.
And, the story's not that great, but, it is what it is, right? So I'll tell you the story. So group of guys, pretty much all the folks that are part of the brewery now, we used to get together every Wednesday, drink some beer, and play Rock Band, right?
The video game.
The video game, yes.
This is already going bad.
Yeah. I said the story wasn't that great. So, yeah. So we used to play Rock Band. So our name on Rock Band was called Salty Nuts.
Right?
For what reason? I don't know.
Oh, I know.
So, yeah. So it's called Salty Nuts, but PlayStation Network decided to ban that because it was too vulgar. So we changed it to Salty Peanuts. Yeah. Right? That's all we could come up with. So me and Mark, he's one of the guys that was part of the brewery at the time. We sat together.
And all you guys are virgins, right?
yeah. So we sat together at the Nook one night, and we were talking about doing the brewery thing. We said, hey, we should do this brewery thing. Like, we need to get this going. And I was like, man, I don't even know where we would start. Like, what would we call the brewery? I have no idea. And he said, Salty Nut. And I was like, all right.
It was done.
And that was it, just like that. So it all stemmed from that, but it was a very quick decision.
That was my only question.
You're
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. All right, so why don't we talk a little bit about some of the hard things about starting a brewery. I got to imagine there's a ton of things. There's barriers to get over, all kinds of laws, actually. And, and speaking of which, we didn't mention Free the Hops, who's a great organization here in town that's really helping to open up the beer scene to this town. It's done a huge legislation on getting passed so we can actually be here right now. So big ups to the Free the Hops guys. But Free the Hops too. But I think people would be interested in knowing, so what are the biggest things that get in the way to actually, because everybody wants to start a brewery.
Sure.
I want to start a brewery.
Yeah, don't.
All right, so
we're at the perfect number in this town.
Right, well, it's growing all the time. So give us some of the biggest things, some of the biggest barriers to actually starting your own brewery.
Yeah, so, in my experience with starting this is the biggest thing was licensing, and the biggest barrier that we faced was finding a location. At the time, there was 3 breweries. We were going to be the 4th in town.
Right.
It took us a year and a half to actually find this location. And the reason is you got to find it. It's got to be zoned correctly.
Sure.
We had to have enough space. We had to make sure that if we were to expand, that we could fit into the same space. So we found the space. We were good to go. After that was the licensing. Right. You've got to have city, state, federal, health department, all these departments play a role in starting the brewery. So it's just a matter of time. It just takes a little bit of time to get all the forms in and get everything approved. So it just took a while. I think we tried to expedite it, and that's just to get started, right? I mean, I think we tried to expedite as much as possible, but it is what it is. So.
Okay, and then we didn't introduce you guys. So this is Brent and Jay. Brent is the owner and a brewer here. Jay, you're one of the owners, right? So
Yes.
So let's talk about actually brewing the beer. So what goes into how do you decide what type of beer you're going to actually produce?
Yeah, so when we first started, we were kind of new to the whole how do we kind of hit the market, right? How do we hit the market? What beer do we want to do? We were all fans of IPAs. I was a huge fan of a red beer that I'd had in out of state one time. So I said we need to make a red stout, of course, because it's a huge fan of stouts and it's good for the seasons and things like that. So basically, we just kind of go with what style we want to make, and then I just kind of take what kind of flavor we want, and I just make a recipe off of that. So I just kind of say, hey, we want it to taste a little bit drier, a little bit sweeter, a little bit hoppy, a little bit less hoppy, and then just kind of just
And
manipulate
there's a lot of
it and make it from
experimentation in there too.
It is.
Right? Yeah.
It is.
Trying one thing one time and different.
Yep.
Is it hard to come up with consistency then? Like if you have this beer that everybody likes, and there's a couple here that I really do like, is it hard to keep that going, get that same taste?
Just a couple.
Yeah. So consistency is difficult, I think, across breweries nationwide. In our case, us being as small as we are, it's a little bit more difficult because we are.
Budweiser tastes like a Budweiser every damn time.
Right, exactly. Right. And because we are in such a small system, and everything here is manual. Mm-hmm. There's no automation whatsoever. It's all hands-on. So I think the consistency level is most determined by if we can nail it down the process every single time.
Yeah, I mean, so it's dialing in the temperatures, writing down everything and repeating that process, and if something doesn't turn out quite right, go back, figure out what it was.
Right.
Yep.
There's a process there to kind of follow and try to get it consistent, which is cool.
Yep.
All right, well, speaking of which, then, we have 3 beers tonight that you guys are debuting.
Yes.
There are 3 pale ales, right? So let's talk about the beers that you guys are introducing now.
Okay.
Coming out.
Yeah. So we did 3 new pale ales today. So we talked to a place in Yakima Valley, Washington. It's called Yakima Valley Hops, and they've got a lot of different experimental hops, and I thought it'd be cool to really kind of get 3 or so different hops and make a beer out of that.
Okay.
So what we did with these beers is it's the same grain profile, the same hop profile, same timing, same amount, same everything. It's just literally a different hop. So these are all single hop pale ales.
Okay.
And the reason we did it that way is because we want these hops, when somebody drinks it, to know that that is the only hop that they're tasting within that beer, right? We want that hop to shine through, and the person that's drinking it to actually know what they're tasting, right? That is that hop is coming through. So we did 3 experimental hops. One's called Buzz Bullets.
Right.
One's called Nuggetzilla, and one's called Experimental Grapefruit. So those are the hop names, and that's what we singled out in the beer.
So I'm drinking the grapefruit one. It's really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. And then what do we got in the
So
small?
the paler one, so that's going to be that.
Yeah, so this one's the Buzz Bullets.
What I got here, the Buzz Bullet?
Yep, this is Buzz
All right,
Bullets.
so everybody should try this real quick.
Yeah, all right.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's all right.
It wasn't a shot.
Joe wins.
I thought you said you were out of questions.
All right, and then I had the grapefruit one, which is really good.
Yep.
And then what's the other one? That
The grapefruit is
the Nuggetzilla?
Nuggetzilla is the other one.
All right,
Correct.
pass that. You got the Nuggetzilla
Yep,
down
here's
there?
the extra Nuggetzilla for
All right,
you.
take that.
Yeah.
I've already got it.
Here we go.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. It's kind of a light, summery sort of.
It is,
it's really
and
easy to drink.
We made the ABV around 6.5%, so we wanted to keep it strictly just a baseline pale ale recipe, but we wanted these hops to be what actually shows through in the beer.
Nice.
So
Right.
And you can't get these hops everywhere, right? They're experimental hops. They may do one crop a year or one crop or whatever, right?
Is the hop everything? Is that what basically is
It,
what
in
you're...
the pale ale style, certainly in the IPA style, that dominates it. You know, in
The
some
hop
of
is
the
the difference.
darker beers, the malts, you know, tend to, but unless you know you've got like the black IPAs, of course, can mix it up. But
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So,
All right, so question for you. All right, your favorite beer in town besides Salty Nut, name the beer, name the brewery. Go. You
go
Jay.
first.
For me, I would have to say Monkey's Uncle from Straight Tail.
Right.
Delicious hoppy beer.
Right.
my favorite is Leica, Cabernet Leica, actually.
From where?
Straight tail.
Straight Tail. All right, well, we got some class for that. All right, very good.
Yeah, so I think it's a spot on beer. I love it. Bought a few bottles of that, so.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this episode of Mash Tun right here at Salty Nut. Everybody should come down here, check out Salty Nut. The tap room is open. They got new beers going all the time. Everybody should come down here and check it out. Check them out on Facebook. Also, Free the Hops. Thanks to Free the Hops for helping us put this on. And always support those guys. What a great organization here in town. Yeah. And of course, support No Huntsville, because we're going to keep on doing this, keep on going and drinking the beer, because it's hard work, but we're going to try to manage it. We're going to try to talk to the brewers, put the beers down, and hopefully we'll continue this on and really spread the word about the good beer happening here in Huntsville. Guys, thanks for having us. Of
course.
Hey, thank you for coming out.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Everybody should drink here real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody finish up.
Oh, we got the new one?
What's that one?
There's a new one too.
That's a new one?
The new one.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, we just. Oh, I think
I counted down.
Oh, that was.
It's not a shot.
Dang it, Joe! No, too late. Nope.
All right, that was good.